Known to all of your friends who are present here this afternoon for the special briefing of Honorable Prime Minister's upcoming visit to the United States and to the Arab Republic of Egypt. First, about the United States, Prime Minister is visiting US on 21st through 23rd of June at the invitation of His Excellency President Biden and the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden. What I would do is give you a brief run overall structure of the program outline, try to sketch a bit of context, key elements which currently resonate in the relationship, and then go on to speak about very briefly about the program in Egypt. Firstly, this will be Prime Minister's first official state visit to the United States. PM has earlier visited US roughly 6 times, both in bilateral capacities as also for multilateral events. First, about the program. The first leg of his program in the US is in New York, which starts on the morning of the 21st with celebration of the International Day of Yoga at the UN headquarters in the morning of the 21st. You would recall that United Nations General Assembly had adopted a resolution proclaiming June 21st as the International Day of Yoga. While in New York, Honorable Prime Minister will also meet a cross-section of prominent personalities and leaders. From there, he departs for Washington on 21st itself, where his program for the Washington leg commences. On the first day of his arrival in Washington, D.C., on 21st, the first key engagement would be an event that is focused on skilling for future, which essentially would try to bring out the key complementarities and the objectives that both systems seek to promote and achieve in the field of skilling and capacity building. On the same day, on 21st, there is expected to be there will be a private engagement between President Biden and Prime Minister. On 22nd June, which is the second day of the program in Washington, that's the day of formal bilateral meetings, essentially would have 4 or 5 key components. The first component being the ceremonial welcome at the White House. Second component being a set of bilateral meetings between the two leaders as also the accompanying delegations. The third component is Honorable Prime Minister's scheduled address to the US Congress and the congressional reception thereafter. And the concluding component for June 22nd would be the ceremonial state dinner hosted by the Honorable President and the First Lady in honor of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. The day 3 of the Washington leg, which is June 23rd, Prime Minister's program again would have 4 or 5 key components. The first being his interaction, one-to-one interaction with select CEOs spread throughout the day. Thereafter, Prime Minister will also be hosted by the US Vice President and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken at the State Luncheon, which is part of the official state visit. Prime Minister will then interact with prominent professional personalities as also leaders from cross-section of the society at an event at the Kennedy Center. Prime Minister's last engagement in Washington, D.C. will be an interaction with the community leaders immediately after the Kennedy Center event, whereafter the Prime Minister will depart for Egypt.